Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Adam, thanks for hanging out with me again today. And today we've got something new that I wasn't really expecting to get. So you guys may have seen some of the videos coming out about these cars and trucks from Jegs. Now I knew about these cars and trucks, but they just really weren't on my radar until they went on sale. And good gravy did they go on sale. So, yep, I got one. So this is the Jegs Stinger, and essentially this is based off of the same platform that the G-Force Genova is on. If you take a look at the inside of this and the Genova, there's a lot of similarities. This is just kind of its stripped down, plastic filled little brother. It has no adjustable turnbuckles or steering rods or anything like that. All that's plastic. Shock towers are plastic. Shock bodies are plastic. It's just a very stripped down version, but it does have oil filled shocks, and it's supposed to have a decent gear train in it, fully ready to run, and it was only $49.95. So yeah, I couldn't not get one. I mean, geez. So they also sent some of the biggest stickers I've ever gotten with an RC car purchase. So I don't know where I'm going to put the ginormous Jeg one. They do have two little tiny ones down there I might be able to use. Those are super ginormous. They're going downstairs on the toolbox. One of the hilarious things with this is, like I said, this was $49.95. It cost me $15 shipping. So for $65, I got a fully ready to run truck delivered to my house. And they sent their Jegs flyer in, and they have both the Stinger and their whole shot, the truck and the buggies, that were both $50, listed for $167.99. Hell of a price difference. I just thought that was amusing that they sent this along with this, that I could have bought 3 of these for the regular price. So we also got a rear wing to go with it, because I'm sure that's going to get beat up and scuffed. And we got a clear body. I think the body was $24.99. And the wing was like $4, so I figured why not. It just comes with some generic stickers in there. There's no window masks in anything. It just has the, can't tell if they're smoked or colored window stickers, but we can mask it out ourselves. I had to figure out a paint job I want to do with this, but let's crack this guy open and see what's in it, because it's still sealed. It just showed up. So back to the Velcro. This seems to be a common problem. If you guys can see, the body clip is in there, but the body has, separated itself from existence and part of that. So the problem with these is, good God. Well, the problem is somebody put the damn clip on here way too far in. So the problem with these bodies is this little tiny, 3/8 inch piece of the body is all that connects that to the rear of the car. If they had put the Velcro on at the factory, this probably wouldn't have broken. But not that big of a deal. I'll probably come in and cut it to look a little bit nicer, so it doesn't have that little jagged edge missing. Or, I may just stick it back on there, put some shoe goo and put one of the 85 decals on it. But regardless, that seems to be the biggest problem with these, is this body gets broken, before you get it. And that may be why they're putting them on clearance. I don't know. Wow, that is slow. Okay, so first thing is this needs all new oil. I've got crawlers that rebound faster than that. That is slow. Full-size servo, T-plug or Dean's on the ESC. Like I said, the 1040 ESC on-off switches back here. Got the 550 motor in the back. It's got a nice little weight to it, but like I said, it's all plastic links up front as well as plastic links in the rear. Captured hinge pins up front. Looks like screw-in hinge pins in the rear. And then just plastic ball joints on everything as far as the linkages for the steering and the upper link for the rear end. Your wing is held on with 2 screws, which comes down to the chassis, to the shock tower, which is held on by 4 screws. Looks like almost all Phillips head screws throughout. Yeah, it looks like all Phillips head screws throughout. Tires are nice. Tires are soft. Got a nice square pin pattern to the rear tires and a nice wide, standard buggy rib tire on the front. They're kind of like a square rib. So they have nice sharp edges on them, so they should cut in pretty well. And you towed out just a tiny bit by default. Steering feels nice and tight. So what little bit of steering slop is in the steering is just basically in the linkages. May be able to do something with the center pivot, but we'll take a look at that as well. Velcro battery strap, your receiver's in here. But yeah, that suspension is just slow. Yeah, it needs what. I mean, that feels like a 60 weight oil in there. that is thick. Well, let's start popping some stuff off here. What the? Okay, so one other thing that's concerning. I don't know if you can see it. This tire is straight up and down. This tire has got some camber to it. Alright, so I took the wheels off, and you can still see this one is shooting up and this one is shooting straight out. So I couldn't tell what was wrong. But when you grab this side arm, there's about a 1/4 inch of play in it. This side, no play. So flipped it over, and what has happened is this pin has screwed through the back of the chassis into the actual, and it goes through into a hole in the chassis. This one, they just ran it through, and it just kind of went off into a different direction. So hopefully that's not broken. Doesn't look broken. But yeah, somebody missed the mark on that one. Okay, there we go. All right, now that it's built properly, the axles go straight out now. That was, I've never seen something like that. All right, so I took the rear cover off. We have a 13-tooth metal pinion. Does not look like it's a hardened pinion, but it is a steel pinion. Plastic spur gear with the metal slipper clutch mounted to the shaft, and then your plastic spur gear mounts to the outside of that. And, it looks like a decent sized slipper pad in there, so, it should work well. So even at full droop, the dog bones don't pop out. Don't look like you would have an issue with the dog bones popping out the back. They're still in there, a good ways. So I think that is not going to be an issue. The drive hexes are really thin. So you have about 4.5 mil drive hexes. So, a couple good hard landings, and that may be an issue. But, I saw Exo Cage running his on 3S, and it held up fine. Now, granted, he is on very sandy track. So, if you're out there bombing around on the pavement or a higher grip surface, you may have an issue with busting a hex or stripping out a hex. Wheels seem okay. Okay, they are glued. So your rears are glued from the factory. So that's nice. Fronts are the same way. So hopefully the rims are in good have a good strength to them and don't break. I am not going to tear anything else down on this. We're going to take it out. We're going to drive it around. What happens. If we break something, hopefully there's parts left. I know they've been selling them like hotcakes. So, other than parts availability, that may be an issue. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how it performs. I just noticed there's an access hole for the slipper clutch that doesn't have a plug in it. So that's not great. You're just going to get a pile of dust and debris and rocks and crap in there, so I'll have to put a piece of tape or something over that. So, is it worth $170 that they were asking for it? Probably. You know, it's still a decent car. It's got some issues, I'm not gonna lie. But, you know, yours may show up and be in a whole lot better shape. But mine, like I said, body was broken. I knew that was possibly gonna happen. There's just not enough Lexan there to hold it together. And I'll put up a picture of, you know, how big that little section is. But I think with some possible, you know, upgrades, some adjustable turnbuckles to dial in the suspension. Now, the rear turnbuckle looks awful close to the shock. Well, the rear turnbuckle is hitting the shock. So change that statement. Not a whole lot we can do with that. So yeah, I think some adjustable turnbuckles for the rear, for the front, for the steering. You know, get everything to where we can dial it around. The suspension has, you know, 3 holes at the top, 3 holes at the bottom, front and rear. So, you know, you do have some shock tuning abilities there to, you know, change the pivot points on your front suspension. Wow, that I'm half tempted to just go ahead and change out the shock oil, but I said we were going to run it as is. Yeah, we're just going to run it as is, and, you know, we'll start tuning on it once we, you know, figure out what it does need to be done. Shock oil, 1000% needs to be changed in this. This is going to be a rough riding, very bouncy, rigid truck or car. I would say you probably need, by the time you get a battery in here, you're going to need the biggest spring spacers on the rear for sure. Whatever is in here, half the weight oil, and like I said, get some turnbuckles on here, and then, you know, get the Velcro on to salvage this body. All right, guys, I'm going to hush, and then we're going to take it out. I'm going to just end this on some running footage, and when we come back and take a second look at it, you know, hopefully I've been able to find some bits and pieces, or at least do the shocks and stuff on there. But everybody out there, you guys be happy, be healthy, be safe, enjoy the run footage, and I will talk to you guys later. See you. Alright guys, so we have the Stinger out here. Right now I'm running it on nickel metal hydride, just because that's literally the only battery packs I had charged up, and I just don't have time to get them charged up. The LiPo is charged up. But I will get this back out on a 2S run. But, you know, overall, it's got a quick little servo to it, and, you know, it seems like it's got pep. So let's get it out here and run it around for a few laps. So that was kind of short-lived. Yeah, we took a weird landing, or when I hit one of the pipes, not sure, but got a little bit of a front end alignment issue. So I can't tell, but this arm does not look broken. It looks like somehow it popped out of the hinge pin, which I don't see how is possible at all. So I'm going to have to, decrapify this thing because it's covered in mud. And as soon as I can get all the gunk off of it and actually take a look at that, I'll bring you back and let you know, is it broke? Is it just, did it pop out somehow? I'm assuming it's broke because, I just don't see how that could have popped off that hinge pin. But, the back was popped off. So let me go hose this thing off a little bit and see what I can do. All right, so we're back. And it's broke. I mean, I assumed it was. There was really no way it could have popped off. But, there's always that hope. But it basically split right there at the back of the suspension arm where the pin goes through. I'll put a picture in. You can just see it's just cracked. So I think for now, just some regular fine running, it'll be good. Another good hit to the front end and it's just going to pop right back off. So I will get some more arms ordered. I suggest if you guys bought some, maybe pick up a few arms because that didn't last very long at all. But I've got to tear it apart. We got to go through the shocks, change the oil in the shocks. Going to tear the rear end apart, see if that needs any attention or bearings or anything. I've got to figure out a way to plug that slipper clutch hole, which is kind of ridiculous to me. But again, guys, it's a $50 car. $170 car, I would have been really upset and angry about, the kind of setup of everything and the, braking right away. $50, I'm not too worried about it. I know a set of arms I think was like $5 or $6. It's not very expensive, so hopefully they're not sold out. But I will get another set on order and maybe order a backup pair. But anyway, guys, first look at it, it needs some work. So don't expect this to be a top shelf racer for $50. It's not. I think with some work, some adjustable turnbuckles, and the tuning of the shocks and everything, I think it'll be a really great buggy. It has some pep. It gets up and go, and it's about as fast and powerful as I can get around the track. Now, the track footage was terrible, and apologies for that, but basically the ground was frozen last night, and then the sun came out, so it's still frozen except for the top little bit. So it's like a mucky, sandy, slidey mess. It was hard to get traction. It was just hard to drive it completely. So apologies for that. Lap time is whatever it is. I'll put it up here at the end. But, I think once we get it tuned a little bit and back out there, we'll actually give it a serious run to try to get some lap times. But with the track the way it is right now, this time of year, muddy, frozen, nasty, more than likely track runs are going to be for the end of the year unless it dries out an awful lot. Anyway, guys, everybody out there, be happy, be healthy, be safe, and I will come back to you once we get some tweakage done. See you guys.